Paris in the fall, the last months of the year and the end of the millennium. The city holds many memories for me, of cafes, of music, of love, and of death.
So, you know, I was out and about. I thought I would pop round my pal Charles Cecil's house for a cup of tea, like you do.
Lovely to see you.
I'm sorry I was late, it's just there was a goat tied up outside and I can never remember what you're meant to do. Every time I forget what you're meant to do.
Do you know what? There's a director's cut of that game, and the goat is much, much simpler now. There are none of these contrived puzzles anymore.
It was the fiercest, meanest looking old goat I'd ever laid eyes upon.
Our Broken Sword fans are really important. This director's cut, which is what we're talking about, is very, very much aimed at them. But at the same time, what I don't want to do is fall into the trap that we fell into 10 years ago, of actually alienating the people that were on the peripheral.
Yeah.
So the director's cut, as well as having loads of new content, several hours worth of gameplay and a new story that we've sort of interlinked and juxtaposed. I love the word juxtapose. Tell me off if I use it too often. I just think, you know, people who really know what they're talking about talk about juxtaposing. So, as well as all the extra content and all the other things, which I'm going to have to sell you at some point and tell you about, but what we have is we have a hint system. And the hint system actually works very well. Also, the people who've been testing the games, the casual gamers, have said, because basically the hardcore just turn it off. So they play the game as they would normally, and it means that some of our puzzles can be quite difficult. But if you don't quite get the grammar, if you just want to play the game a little bit faster, you just want to enjoy the story, then you can have the hint system is on by default. And if the game thinks that you're stuck, it flashes a little question mark, and gives you a fairly low-level hint. And then if you still don't get it, it flashes a question mark again and gives you more of a hint. And then eventually it just gives you, such a big hint that it would be very difficult not to get. Well, get very close to the answer. Yes. And that to me is a really nice way, because there's the choice. And we don't have a downside of getting hints, apart from the fact that it measures how many you've actually asked for. Right. So when it saves your game, it says you have asked for 20 hints. And, I found myself mocking somebody the other day because they hadn't got very far into the game. I was using their save game, and they'd used 11 hints. I won't tell you who it is. So what was great was the opportunity to actually go back and actually explore some of the themes that people loved. So the game actually starts a day earlier, and it's told from Nico's perspective. And the gameplay starts with Nico actually investigating somebody dressed in a costume kills a man. You see, so she starts getting involved, and she thinks it's going to be a great story. But also, cryptically, he mentions that he knew her father.
It's great to be able to combine bringing in lots of new gameplay for people who've played the game many times before, but also to have a sort of, obviously great respect for what has gone, and that's how it should be, that's how it must always be. How about, what is the thoughts about going forward from here? Because I think it's an absolute guaranteed hit. I think it's obviously, of course, it's going to do very well. And is there a plan to do some of the other games in that series, and when are we getting Beneath a Steel Sky again?
Well, I hope that it's successful, but there is no. When we first started, if I go back, it was clear that the DS and the Wii were great platforms. Really great platforms for the tactility, as I was saying. But I didn't really feel, having played a few particularly adventure games that really were cheap ports that had come across and really weren't good enough, I really didn't want to do the same thing again. And bless them, what was great was a group of fans came together with a petition demanding that Broken Sword 1 and Broken Sword 2 were converted to DS and Wii, because it would be great. But I didn't want to just convert it. So I'm very pleased that, when I came up with this idea of adding this extra content, came up with a story, came up with a diary, came up with the facial expressions, all of, quite a considerable amount of new ideas and new material. I approached Ubisoft, and Ubi were great, and they jumped straight on it, and we signed a deal, frankly, within a couple of weeks, because they really bought into it. It was fantastic. And that all came from the fact that that sort of gave me the confidence. This petition was great because it gave me the confidence to say, well, actually, we can do this. There will be a demand. And now the forums are fantastic. We've got people saying, we're going to buy Wii's, we haven't got a Wii, but we're going to buy one. We're going to buy a DS. And, so actually, we have a real hardcore support, which is wonderful. And I keep saying this, but I was really, really keen not in any way to offend the beliefs that these people had in the original franchise, because frankly they own it as much as I do. I've got to guide it. You
reach a point after so many years where it becomes owned by the public.
Precisely. And that's when the guys in Germany that did Broken Sword 2.5, the only proviso I said is that they can't sell it, because if they sell it, then it becomes a commercial game, and then it's very. But beyond that, then I absolutely welcomed it, and it's good for them, and I feel very flattered that people should want to do it, and they did a great job.
Yeah.
But I do feel that within certain boundaries, this is open to people to do whatever they want. People write stories. People ask me if they can do this, that, and the other. If they can, use the graphics for this or whatever. And I'm really flattered that people want to do it and completely support it. So I did take this project really, really seriously, because the risk of screwing it up would be just awful.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, if this works, a reinterpretation of other Broken Swords, perhaps. I mean, Dave and I have been talking about Beneath the Steel Sky 2 for longer than I would like to admit. If this does work, then we're in a great position to be part of this reinvention of the adventure.
I've heard that you called it a renaissance, which I quite like. That I think that the Wii and the DS sort of allows for a renaissance of adventure games.
Absolutely, and we can look at Telltale games in the way that they're doing Sam and Max. They're great games. I don't know how successful they are, but clearly they're reasonably successful. Look at Professor Layton. I would argue that anybody that likes Professor Layton is going to like Broken Sword, because they're equally as easy to play. I'd like to think we have a slightly deeper story than they do, but then they're sort of cartoony and fun in a way that maybe we aren't. So, but the point is that actually there are plenty of products that are showing that you get the product right, and you appeal to that type of person, and you can do really, really well.
Charles Cecil, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you for telling us about the game. I look forward to playing it, and I look forward to playing all of the rest of them over again, hopefully.
Thank you. Well, I hope there will be plenty of them, because as I say, now is a great time. There's plenty of opportunities to do big games, little games, look back and see what worked in the past, see what we can do in the future. It's an extraordinary time, and hopefully it'll deliver an amazing amount of innovation from all of us. And certainly from my perspective, I feel really empowered to do things that I haven't been able to do for an awfully long time.